God, what the hell is this? He's gonna try it!
And will this be enough? For Undertaker's
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Ruckus Wrestling. I am Josh Mabry, alongside my tag team partner in this journey, Justin Toner. Dude, WrestleMania is upon us at this point. It feels like it.
It's getting close. We're only 3 weeks away now. I've got my math right.
Yeah. Build can be whatever, as long as it feels like it's going to deliver. Not the build that it was, last 2 years. But I thought that they had a lot to go on, whereas this one, they had to pivot a little bit.
Yeah, I see a lot of people complain about the build so far, and I understand some of those complaints. It's not as exciting as like last year with what happened with Rock, Roman, Cody, Seth, and all that, and it's like, but we got a lot of really good matches lined up already. Some of them have some really good storyline stuff going into them. So I'm still looking forward to Mania. Maybe not as excited maybe as last year with Cody finishing the story and everything. But no, it's like this is looking like it's going to be a pretty good WrestleMania on paper right now.
I mean, like you.
What's up, Jeremy? Glad to see you.
Yeah. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Appreciate you if you're watching us. Well, SmackDown is on tape delay right now on USA Network. Although I did use a little chicanery. It's like I got my hands on a free VPN extension in Google Chrome and used that to watch most of the show while it was airing live via Netflix overseas. So,
which is the topic I kind of want to start out with, even though we didn't put it in our headline. We're going to get to the Hall of Fame stuff because I think that's also a precedent thing that they just did this year with the Hall of Fame as far as doing a match. But the thing that I've seen so much in WWE, because the fans have shown up, is the international shows that we're going to get.
Yeah.
And because of streaming, they can air it whenever.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, those crowds deliver.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting Raw at an earlier time while they're overseas on Netflix. So they're airing it live. And then because with Netflix, as soon as the live stream is over, the VOD is right there. So it's like you can be able to, if you didn't catch it live when it starts at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon because of the time difference, you can just watch it later in the day when you have a chance.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. So I have yet to see anyone on the IWC give crap about them going more international.
No.
I mean, it also puts the fact of like how much we care about interest music.
Yeah.
Like they're really like, I mean, the crowd tonight was so good about singing Randy Orton's theme. It's just like when you have a good theme song, Cody Rhodes, all the other stuff.
Yeah. These UK crowds, it's Scotland, and then the one that they got for SmackDown tonight, London, and it's definitely going to carry over to Raw, which is also going to be from London on Monday night. They're killing it. Yeah. It's like with their enthusiasm. It's like they bring out the chants, man. It's like Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. I mean, still to this day, I'll
even
never
Roman,
forget.
It's like Roman was just having a ball with like all the love they were giving him for the contract signing.
I'll never forget that France crowd for AJ Styles
last year. Yeah.
That AJ Styles chant, everything they did, and just like the screen just vibrating, like the camera vibrating, and it wasn't Kevin Dunn, it was literally the crowd.
Yeah, I think that's true, Jerry. That people I think are getting used to the streaming works and stuff. So yeah, I think that's a definitely factor.
Yeah, for sure. But our main topic today, kind of for news wise, is how the Hall of Fame is shaping up. A couple new nuggets that we've gotten since we went live. We were thinking that the natural disasters were going to get in, it was official that they are in, which is Earthquake and Typhoon.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this was before my era, so I will give it to Justin to tell us. Obviously, they did a vignette. They showed the video of Triple H telling Earthquake. And Typhoon is still alive, isn't he?
Yes, Typhoon. Yeah, John Tenta, who was Earthquake, passed away to cancer a long time ago. Unfortunately, that was bladder cancer.
2006, I believe.
Yeah,
like somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's been like 20 years since he passed, unfortunately. But Typhoon, also known as Fred Ottman, also known probably to people of the 90s generation as the Shockmaster.
Yeah.
From a Shockmaster. He's also is related to the Rhodes family. He is Cody's uncle. So it's like, and also his Fred's son is the current timekeeper. So it's like his son works for WWE. So, yeah, it's like Earthquake was a very well-known and very popular heel wrestler back in that heyday. Used to be a sumo wrestler, but then transitioned into regular wrestling. He had been in the business for a bit, and then he got signed to WWE, and he was brought in at the end of the 80s, and he was there for several years. It's like he had some very memorable feuds. One of the biggest ones was against Hulk Hogan, where it's like he attacked Hogan on the Brother Love show, and then hit his finisher, his Earthquake squat, where he would squat on the guy's chest. Kind of like think of like the bonsai drop, except he runs the ropes and did it and like landed on.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was his finisher. So he did it he infamously did the Hogan on the Brother Love show, and they did a whole stretcher job, and it's like it led to a big profile match. That was Hogan's big feud after he lost the title to Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6. That was the big storyline during the summer, was Earthquake laying him out and then him coming back, and they had a match at SummerSlam. He also had another memorable feud with Jake the Snake Roberts because he was afraid of snakes, and then he infamously killed Jake's original snake, Damien, by hitting his finisher on it, squashing the bag. It was later. People thought that the snake was really in there, including me when I was a kid, but it turned out that it was like a lot of Italian sausage was inside the bag to make it look like there was a snake in there.
Right.
And then he infamously turned the remains of Damien into snake burgers. Which is this is a very memorable moment, but more of a wrestle crap moment, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Eventually, now Typhoon was originally brought in as Tugboat, a friend of Hogan's.
Right.
I'm not going to get into the whole Tugboat thing. It's this was classic, over the top cartoony wrestling stuff from that area. It's like, just look, you do your own research.
Oh, he's a captain, so
he turned heel, became Typhoon, and joined forces with Earthquake, and they became the Natural Disasters tag team. They were managed by Jimmy Hart, Mouth of the South. They had a run it with the tag team titles. They won the tag team titles. They had the tag titles for a little bit, but eventually they ended up turning babyface because Jimmy Hart betrayed them and helped Money Incorporated, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and IRS get the tag titles from them, and became their manager and turned on him, and so that turned the Natural Disasters babyface. Eventually, they both left WWF and went their own ways. They both ended up in WCW at different points. It's like Typhoon turned into the Shockmaster, very infamous wrestle crap. Like, oh, that was not a good moment.
Nope.
That's legendary in wrestling. It's like, now Tenta had a good relationship with Hogan, which is, he was one of the people. When they talk about Hogan brought all those friends, John Tenta was one of them when Hogan went to WCW, and like Macho Man and Beefcake and all the people, Hacksaw Jim Duggan and all these other people came in, Honky Tonk Man. John Tenta was one of them. At first they called him Avalanche, but that was kind of too close to Earthquake, and then they eventually turned him into the Shark.
Yeah, I remember him as the Shark in like the Dungeons of Doom or whatever.
He was a member of the Dungeon of Doom, trying to take out Hulk Hogan during his babyface early babyface years in WCW before the heel turn.
That Kevin Sullivan stuff.
Yeah. So he worked there for a few years, and then after that, he kind of like petered out of the business. And he ended up having to take like odd jobs just to take care of his family. And it's like he got cancer, but he didn't tell his family, he didn't tell anybody. And by the time he sought treatment, it was too late. It's really sad. They did a whole Dark Side of the Ring episode about what happened to him. But his family was very proud of him. It's like he survived by his wife and a couple of his children, who were at the Hall of Fame last year as guests. And they showed a behind the scenes video that they planned this a long time ago. This is not a new thing. They showed a video from last year, a year ago, where they informed John Tenta's family that they were going to put him as Earthquake and Typhoon in together as natural disasters in the Hall of Fame next year, and asked, how I feel about that. And they were very emotional, appreciative that, he's getting honored. A very member wrestler. He was one of my favorite guys from back in the day. My friend James Iris, friend of the channel, is very, very fond of Earthquake John Tenta. He's one of his personal favorite wrestlers of all time. So he was very happy when he heard that he was going to the Hall of Fame, which I knew he would be. He is like that's one of his faves. So long overdue honor. It's like it's like he didn't have hold a lot of titles, but he was a very memorable character. Had like I said, memorable feuds, memorable moments. One of those big guys that was ahead of his time, where he was big and heavy, but he could move. It's like it's like very mobile. That's why him and Typhoon were very memorable as a tag team, because they were both big. Like they were billed as being like combined over 1,000 pounds, like a ton.
Right.
It's like, but they could move. It's like so. Kind of like a foreshadowing, kind of like some of the big men you see too, like Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed is a big.
Bronson Reed did give a little nugget to Typhoon for his tsunami drop.
That's why he calls his finisher the tsunami as a nod to the natural disasters.
Right.
It's like he was a big fan of Earthquake and Typhoon back in the day, and so he was very excited that they were going to the Hall of Fame, and he was in the clip mentioning about how his tsunami finisher is him paying homage to Earthquake and Typhoon. It's like he's like the modern day natural disaster, which is cool.
Right. Yeah. No. And Triple H has been booking until he got hurt, because Bronson did get released, then he came back, and Triple H has brought some people back, and it just didn't work.
He's going to get that big push. He's going to get that big push once he gets back from his injury. It's like
because he's got everything to me. I think
he was killing it until he got hurt during War Games.
I mean, just Bronson versus do a triple threat between Jacob, Bronson,
Earthquake and Typhoon paved the way for big guys like Bronson Reed, Jacob Fatu, people like that. It's like So now we get to today's announcement that they announced during SmackDown, which they also announced online by social media before it aired on tape delay here in the States, that now they're going to start inducting matches into the Hall of Fame, memorable matches that they're calling Immortal Moments. And the first match that they're going to induct is couldn't ask for a better first match to induct into the Hall of Fame as a memorable iconic moment, is the submission match from WrestleMania 13 between Bret the Hitman Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's like, that's an awesome choice, because that match is a classic for multiple reasons. Not just the match itself, but what happened during the match and what the match did for both guys' careers, especially Stone Cold. Both guys, the Bret Hart and Stone Cold feud was amazing. They had such great chemistry together, and the feud hit a high point with this match, the submission match. And it's memorable because of the feud, but also it was one of the rare matches where a double turn happened, because when the match started, Stone Cold was coming in as the heel, even though he's becoming really popular at this point, and Bret was coming in as the babyface, but they were starting the heel turn that led to the whole Hart Foundation run in '97. And during the match, the way that they did the match, the crowd flipped the script, and by the end of the match, Stone Cold was being cheered and Bret was being booed out of the building, and it was mission accomplished. And Ken Shamrock was the special guest referee. I remember watching that match and it was just like blown away because I was looking for that match because back then it was like I was all in on Stone Cold Bret feud. It's like it was awesome. One of the most best and memorable feuds in WWE history was that. And they're both very proud of that match. They're both very, they became very good friends outside the ring. They've both talked about how much that match means to them. Yeah, and Stone Cold especially because that match cemented Stone Cold as the guy.
Yep.
Even though he lost the match, he lost the match. He infamously was like bleeding buckets out of his head. Blood was streaming down his face. He was in the sharpshooter. He refused to submit. Eventually, he just passed out from the pain. And Shamrock called the match for Bret because he passed out and he was, it's like unconscious. So he lost the match, but he did not give up. And so that just like permanently endeared him to the WWE fan base. And 1 year later, he beat Shawn Michaels, become WWE champion, and boom, the Attitude Era is off and running.
The rest is history. Is Stone Cold being Stone Cold. Yeah. I remember seeing a TikTok today of just like they were asking some random person. They're like, "Hey, what's your favorite match?" And he was just like, "What's the best match of all time?" And he said, "It's Bret Hart and Stone Cold because we talked about it before, and we've talked about people like Shawn Michaels coming out and be like, it's not about the match, it's about the story leading up to the match.
Exactly.
The match just happens. I'm like, no, story in the match makes sense.
Yeah.
As long as you can tell it. And this is why this is exhibit A of all A's. Like this is in the Smithsonian.
Why stories?
How you can, why the match matters.
Mm-hmm.
And
the match is amazing. It's like the match itself is so constructed. It's like to perfection because like you watch during the match, you see the crowd switching sides.
Mm-hmm.
It's like as the match goes on, they start cheering Stone Cold more and they start booing Bret more, and it's like all the stuff it's like the story coming into the match, the story they told during the match, it's historic and this was a great choice. And the cool thing is that both Stone Cold and Bret are going to be there for the induction.
Yes, that's a big thing. Well, Stone Cold for other reasons, I'm thinking, but why he's in town. But
he's already going to be at WWE at the World to do autograph signings and stuff. But he's also going to be at the Hall of Fame now, along with Bret. So it'll be a cool moment for both of them. If you want to see a great breakdown of the match from their respective, go watch the episode where Bret was on Broken Skull Sessions with Stone Cold. They rewatch the match during the interview, a good portion of the match, and just talk about like the spots and stuff and what they were thinking, and you can see them just like they're both just like sitting back there and just enjoying their work, that what they pulled off and how proud they are of that match.
And I know a lot of people.
They're both considered like one of their greatest like accomplishments in wrestling is that match.
Stone Cold always looks at it as his best match.
Mm-hmm.
He always highly regards it. I mean, we listened to Stone Cold talk about that even in his documentary. He was just like went up to Bret and was like, what do you want to do? And he goes, you know what, Stone? He was like, you know what, Steve? I think you should get some color. Like, I think you're really gonna help this thing. And so they go back to Vince, and Vince was like, I don't, whatever. And because it's Bret. So if Bret at that time,
it ended up being hard way too, because like when he hit him with that ring bell, it's like he legit busted him open.
Yeah, but he was like, Steve, I think this really could ramp up this match if we do some color. At no point during that documentary were they ever saying, hey, we should totally switch from babyface to the switch. It just was like it just was natural.
It was organic.
It was organic of them just calling the match and them doing on the fly, which is giving them the fact of why I would put more to Bret of being that in-ring general that we know is like the GOAT as far as that is concerned. But Steve is not far. Like Steve is a total package and that's why he's looked at as the greatest of all time. But Brett is the technician that made Steve.
And Steve was a great technician before the neck injury at SummerSlam '97.
He was a ringmaster for a reason, right?
And he had to change he had to completely change his wrestling style because of the neck injury. Mm-hmm. But like watching that match reminds you of what a great technical wrestler Steve was before the neck injury forced him to have to change how he wrestled.
And he knew how to play it because, I mean, that scene of him pushing himself up with the blood streaming down his face and him screaming.
It's like, and you just see the blood just streaming down his face.
You have to know how to do that.
That's an iconic WWE moment that they've replayed countless times over. That moment with the blood streaming down his face and he's screaming in pain and it's like Shamrock's asking him if he quits and he's like keeps saying nope. He refuses to give up. It's iconic.
That is the if you're gonna induct a match, that is the perfect match to go to. Which on our Discord, join down below. We our boy Giff put out there said, hey,
it'd be very interesting. That would be very interesting. That I don't know if that would be very. It's like it'd be very interesting if they did that. Because we got the Slammies that are open to the fans. It's like it'd be very interesting. Maybe we'll see. Maybe they might put out something to see like, hey, what do you think? Kind of like a poll. Like what match of these matches do you think should get inducted in the future? Kind of like maybe get a feel for what people think might be a good choice to induct like next year. And we were talking about Discord because Gift was asking like, well, it's like, okay, well, like what match do you think they would do like next year? And you had a great pick. You picked Taker HBK round 2 from was it 26?
Because it's my favorite. Oh, like it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. I've never gone through more.
There's people who prefer the first one more.
I understand it. It's like
there's more stakes where it was Taker gave him the rematch, but he had to put his career on the line. And there's that great promo exchange on Raw where he's like, okay, I'll give you the match, but in return, you got to put your career on the line. Yeah. And it's like my streak, my WrestleMania winning streak versus your career. You lose, you're done. And
that visual of him.
That added stakes to the match,
and the visual of of HBK kicking out of the tombstone and Undertaker just like, are you serious? Like that visual and just I've never like it just gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. I've never experienced a match like that.
It's hard to pick because they're both amazing. Yeah, both of those Mania matches are amazing. My pick is a little more old school, but it's one that people still look to. It's one I rewatched recently because they put up WrestleMania 3 on the WWE Vault channel in full. Is Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ricky Dragon.
I was getting ready to say the Steamboat Macho Man. Yeah,
that match is iconic, and it's one that influenced so many wrestlers.
All the technical stuff.
What they did, and also was a match that many people like. That match made me want to become a wrestler. It was so influential, and
it was so technical.
And when you hear the story, it's like when you hear the story, Ricky, Macho Man's unfortunately is on the but Steamboat talks about how like Macho Man was the kind of guy who liked to plan matches ahead, step by step. Steamboat talked about how like he had like a notepad of several pages where he plotted out the entire match, move for move for move, right to the finish. And he would basically had made Steamboat memorize it. It's like something because he'd be like step 27, and then Steamboat would have to repeat like what move they were doing at that step, or like what it's like is just to make sure that he remembered. And although it's very very OCD, and you're like that's pretty that's how Macho Man was. That's how and you can't argue with the results because that match is iconic for so many reasons. And it's like, it's one of my personal favorite matches. I remember watching that match. I watched WrestleMania 3. That was the first WrestleMania I ever watched. It's like, I'll never forget watching that match and just like my young mind was blown. I was about 10 years old at the time. Is like WrestleMania 3 is like It's like I just started watching wrestling, like a couple months before and gotten into it. But it's like WrestleMania 3 was when my love of professional wrestling was like permanently cemented, that show. And that match is one of the reasons, besides Hogan Andre, which I was like, how's Hogan going to beat Andre the Giant? It's like, as a kid, it's like,
I know people are going to throw that match out there, but
I think that's eventually going to go in. They probably want to do that sometime soon. It's like, Steamboat's still around, thankfully, but it's like, he's in pretty good shape health wise for his age. So it'll just be sad because Macho Man isn't around. And also his brother Lenny Poffo unfortunately passed away too. So like,
he did.
So if they did it, it would just be Ricky, talking about it and stuff. It would be a little bittersweet, it's like, but that's another one that I think is definitely probably going to go in eventually.
I think from outside of like just a one-on-one match, I think the Edge, Christian, Dudley, Hardy, one of those TLCs.
One of the TLCs will probably go in at some point.
Because I mean, like we there every
more
time.
More likely the second one, because the second one was even better than the first at WrestleMania X7, and it's a WrestleMania match.
Because the first one was a ladder, and then it became a TLC. Like I think that first TLC.
Well, the first TLC at SummerSlam 2000 was very memorable, but they felt like they could even top that, and they did. They figured out a way how to do that with the rematch at WrestleMania 17.
Yeah. So that's something I would, at least as far as
as you being the big fan of all those teams, and that's the era you grew up in. That's also a really good choice. That's definitely another good option to go in as like a match.
Jeremy's got that Razor.
That's another one that will definitely go in at some point, and that also will be a little sad because unfortunately, Razor is no longer with us.
Yeah.
But HBK will be able to do a good job of talking about that match. That's another one that's definitely like a shoe in at some point. The ladder match from WrestleMania 10, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. Like this is a really cool idea. I'm fine. I think this is it's like it's immortalizing memorable matches and moments.
It's not just that individuals work, but it's because of the work that you did with other individuals.
Yeah.
And UFC does it. They literally like they highlight, oh man, you all did well. That being said, it's a little bit different when it comes to wrestling because obviously it's scripted in a way, but you still have to pull it off.
Yeah.
And for us to be sitting there like getting goosebumps talking about Ricky and Macho Man, talking about Stone Cold and Bret Hart, talking about HBK and Undertaker 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And the TLCs that we had, like I get goosebumps thinking about those matches because we were going through it just as much as they were.
Yeah.
Which makes it realize that they were doing what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And you need to applaud that work.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm totally down with them starting to add matches into the Hall of Fame. I think that's a really cool idea. And it'll be really cool. It'll be cool to see Bret and Stone Cold talk about the match at the Hall of Fame. And it's like, and they're going to give a lot of love to each other about that match. And it's like they are very, very proud of that match, as they should be.
Yeah, I think they're probably, if they're going to, like Bret and Stone, I think they're going to do more on wrestlers that aren't involved with the company at this point. So I doubt they're going to. It's kind of the same thing with Triple H. Like they've been holding off Triple H forever, just because he's been so involved with the company. And then they're like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, because it would look like nepotism, because of where it is a position. It's like
no favoritism or anything like that. So they're probably going to hold off on the HBK Undertaker 1 and 2. But those two are definitely going to be deserving. I think they'll probably do, if anything, I would say next year would be the Ricky Macho Man.
That would be, I think so. Especially, it's like, Steamboat's up there in age. And so if you want to put that match in, you want to do it while Ricky's still around. It's like, so.
Is there any Flair match that you would put that would make the qualification that's not?
One of his, pick one of it, the trilogy he had with Steamboat in '89. It's like any one of them. You could, if you wanted to, you could put the whole freaking trilogy in. It's like, because all those matches are like 5-star, like bangers.
And stuff that he did with Dusty was amazing in NWA. So. Not the best, not as good as Ricky, but still just memorable. Just the storytelling that they did in those matches.
those 3 matches are absolutely amazing. That entire trilogy from '89.
Yeah.
It's like go check out the recent episode of W Rivals on A&E. They went over Ricky and Flair's feud, and they covered the '89 trilogy at the end, because they wrestled like a lot. Like they started wrestling each other back in the '70s. They showed like the footage from the '70s when they first feuded for the first time. It's like stuff I'd never seen before, which was really cool. So
Right. Yep. All right, man. Well, yeah, we can sit there and talk about matches all the time that deserve in the Hall of Fame. You know what? We need to talk about matches that are happening now, which is on SmackDown.
Yeah, let's go to SmackDown from last week.
Let's go SmackDown.
Here's a recap of what happened last week's episode of SmackDown from Bologna, Italy, as the European tour continues. Randy Orton started off the show with a promo on Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens came out to rebut, tried to get back in Randy's good graces, said they made a mistake. They shouldn't have hit him with the pile driver and stuff. But Randy didn't buy into it and said that they're going one-on-one at WrestleMania, and he's going to kick Kevin Owens' head off with the punt. Then we had a tag team match. Demon Priest and Jimmy Uso teaming up against Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura. Babyfaces won with a Southend chokeslam from Priest to Nakamura. After the match, McIntyre attacked Priest and laid him out with a Claymore. LA told Braun Strowman he's got his bag against Shake-Up 5-2, and Strowman says that their match next week is for you, that whoever wins will get LA Knight in a U.S. title match next week. And LA Knight says he's fine with that. We had a split screen interview between Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton. A lot of jaw jacking there. Jacob Fadu versus Braun Strowman. Winner will face LA Knight for the U.S. title next week. Solo Sikoa's interference caused a disqualification, giving Strowman the win in the title shot. After the match, Jacob Fatu was not happy. When they went to do a beatdown on Strowman, but LA Knight ran in to make the save. In the back, Jacob was yelling at Solo and Tama Tonga. Solo thought that Jacob needed his help and told him that he doesn't and to watch it. They made Piper Niven on Selena Vega. If Selena wins, she get a shot at Chelsea Green in the Women's U.S. Championship. But Piper Niven picked up a victory with a crossbody. Then we had Jake Kergel taking on Liv Morgan in a one-on-one match. Naomi ran out and caused a dangerous distraction, which allowed Liv to hit Jade with Oblivion and beat her for the victory. After the match, Naomi laid out Jade Cargill and beat her down. McIntyre explained his issues with the Premium Priest and mocked him. Said he's going to destroy him probably at WrestleMania. Look back at Street Profits winning the tag titles a week before. Profits came out to cut a promo. They were interrupted by Santos and Legado. Pretty Deadly interrupted, saying they're the number one contenders. They're going to get the first crack. But Street Profits were not afraid. And they took on Los Garza as a non-title match and beat them. DIY tried to get Pretty Deadly to work with them again, and they told them to go pound sand. Then we had the main event interview spot. Roman Reigns came out with Paul Heyman. He has explained his issues with both Punk and Seth Rollins about what happened at the Rumble and paid them both back on Raw. But if any of them want to come down and air grievances, he welcomes them to come on out. Seth came down first. He was mad that Roman prevented him from taking Punk out for good, but he understands that it wasn't about Punk. It's about the two of them and their history, and he's ready to settle things. CM Punk then came out, told them both off, told Roman that he wouldn't have been able to even get into the Royal Rumble if he didn't help him out at War Games. reminding Heyman that he still owes him a favor. Then he attacked Roman, and a brawl was on, and all three men brawled all over ringside. Each one took turns pointing at the sign, making it clear that they want to face each other at WrestleMania. And so the triple threat between the three of them is now official for WrestleMania. So that's all that happened on last week's episode of SmackDown.
Which, spoiler alert, guys, that is going to be CM Punk is now going to be main eventing night one of WrestleMania.
Yes, it is official. The triple threat between the three of them is going to be the night one main event. So CM Punk's finally going to get his main event match at WrestleMania. And
let me just say this. At first, I was like, this is kind of a blow-off triple threat, whatever, just to put three guys that are, these top guys.
I see people. There's already people online who are already complaining that Io, Bianca, and Rhea are not getting the main event slot on night one, and I get that.
I get that, but here's what I'm saying. Did you complain about Kevin Owens and Stone Cold?
No, because that was Stone Cold.
That's my counter argument. You can sit there and say like, well, yeah, but this way. I'm like, no, that was supposed to be just.
No one thought Stone Cold could ever wrestle a match again.
Right. That's kind of where I put. I want to give it the benefit of the doubt because I don't really like this. Kind of like a let's put our three.
There's so much history between these three guys that it makes sense that it's the main event.
Yeah.
Even though there's no stakes involved outside that these guys just do not like each other right now and they want to throw down.
This is going to be so good and it's going to be such good storytelling.
Yep. And the Heyman factor is another big thing. Also, spoiler alert, this match being the main event is not the favor. So the favor is still in play. We don't know what that is.
Nope.
So that's still a big story point.
Yeah. That being said, they need to figure out SmackDown.
They really do at 3 hours because it's like they got to pace it right to where it's not. I'm watching. I'm just like,
yeah.
It's like it feels like 3 hours, where it's like.
I think that 2.5 hour that Netflix is
Raw's in a good spot with the 2.5 hour, around 2.5 hours.
Whether it's a good show or not, I think the time wise is
it feels like the roster is too thin, or it's like, but there's people that they're not even using, so it's like for example, like on tonight's show, they finally had Kid Carter Katana Chance finally wrestled the first time in a long time after they got moved to SmackDown during the transfer window. This is the first time that they've wrestled on screen since they got moved over.
Well, technically, Katana was on Speed with Sol Roca, which is like
what? I'm talking about on SmackDown.
I know, but that just confused me when I saw that a couple of days ago. I'm like, Katana and Sol Roca on Speed? Like, I know that they don't care about that. That's why they don't put the titles on SmackDown or Raw or anything like that, because someone else is paying them the money. Like, all right, well, we're just going to put it on there. It shows you how much they care about their investors at some point. But the tag team between Drew and Damian and Jimmy, I'm just like, it was a nothing burger to me. Like, did it build the Damian and Drew McIntyre thing? No, not really. Like, the stories have already been done, but you're 3 weeks away. It should ramp up. Right. You should keep trying to sell the match. The match shouldn't already be sold. Now, certain matches are, like John Cena, Cody, and we'll get to that and with Raw. But there's certain matches where I'm like, you're like the Kevin Owens, Randy Orton. Like, I want a little bit more. I want a little bit more toppings, and they're just not giving it to us. And even tonight, and we'll talk about it next week. It's the same shit. Like, you're not giving me more layers. You're just coming out and saying the same thing, rinse and repeat. Yes, I'm bought in because I'm a mark, and that's what I am, and I'm just going to do it. But I'm going to call a spade a spade. The build to Randy Orton and Kevin Owens has been lackluster compared to the Kevin Owens and Zayn.
Right. Absolutely.
And the best thing about these SmackDowns is Jacob and they're doing a good job building up it's like the issues that are slowly developing between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. It's like
And they're finally they finally got me
division.
invested in the Damian Priest Drew McIntyre match, even though I think Drew should be involved in a more high profile match. But it's it's like okay, it's like this feud it's working on me now. You know, it's like yeah, it's like that episode last week was just like I was like I tried to watch it and I was just like yeah.
Right.
I'm glad that I'm glad I had D&D tonight because like I watched some of it earlier and followed along with the spoilers because I had D&D that night and I was like I was not going to bother trying to rewatch it after I got home from playing D&D. So I'm like I didn't really miss much. I just rewatched certain clips and stuff and it's like that's all I needed to see. It's like it was that bad. It was a very weak episode.
It really was. I mean, like I love this tag division. It's getting very 50-50 booking type stuff. It doesn't mean I don't like it. I just want to know where the conclusion lies. It is. And they haven't said it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue. Jade, Liv is just on a different she has finally reached her pedestal. Like, I mean, I felt like every time Liv comes out, I'm like, she is that Rhea Ripley. She is that I'm saying it. She's that Becky Lynch, like level. Like she's there. Mic skills, definitely in ring work. I mean, we talked about how many times like Liv has impressed us in the past 6 months, much less the last year and a half, where she had to carry that division, and they were booking her terribly. But when it came to her, like being like, okay, no, we're gonna let you do your thing. There's no safety net. Liv has performed. And especially with Jade, I mean, are we getting the Jade Naomi at WrestleMania? Like that build is
Well,
I know what's going to happen tonight, but still, that's why it's
already aired
on Thursdays.
It's already aired. I saw it earlier, but it's already aired now while we were doing the show. The heel promo Naomi cut tonight.
Okay, good. Because I'm a big Naomi
I watched
person.
it earlier.
All right, you're making me excited because Naomi is so good, and they just
never
let her do her thing.
Do you hunt down the spoilers? People are talking about this promo as like home fucking run. Okay. She kills this heel turn promo. Talking about why it's like it's awesome. It's like I'm like done. I'm like this heel turn's gonna work, baby.
Okay, so Jay Naomi WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Okay.
This promo that Naomi cut on tonight's SmackDown, I'm like, okay, now I'm in.
Okay.
It's that good.
And I still want the Fatal 4-Way ladder match.
That's probably gonna happen.
But who do you leave out? Do you think it's gonna be all 5 of them? Because I think that's too many.
Well, I leave Pretty Deadly out because like they've had more than one chance. It's like, although I prefer, honestly, at this point I'd prefer a triple threat between the Profits, DIY, and the Machine Guns because I think you get like the best match out of that between those three.
Yeah, no, I mean I was like, that's the reason I want to ask you the question because I don't want to say that Pretty Deadly should be left out, but Garza has earned their spot in WrestleMania. I mean, they have. I mean, the way they've been putting them in the stories, and every time they performed, yes, they've been jobbing, but Pretty Deadly beat Motor City, or no, they beat DIY, which is why you don't spin your champions, and we'll get to that.
Street Profits beat DIY. It's like Street Profits have screwed shit. That's why I'm saying the triple threat makes more sense because they've had more direct like fuckery with each other. Those three.
Yeah.
Plus they've it's like the belt has gone all between all three of them. Like Machine Guns won the tag titles from the Bloodline, then DIY took them from them with the heel turn, and then the Street Profits just took them from DIY after a few months. So it's like it's passed between the three of them. It's like it's like.
No, I think whatever they decide with WrestleMania, I think Street Profits are going to retain because I just think
I think they should. They should. Let them have the belts for a while.
They
deserve it.
Nothing against your boys in DIY.
No, yeah, no.
I
love DIY, and you love DIY, but the Profits deserve a good run with these belts right now.
Yeah, they really did. Okay, here's
DIY can afford to not have the titles again for a little while. It's like they've won the titles twice. They had they got to hold them for like about 3 or 4 months before they lost them to the Profits. So it's not like they didn't get to hold them for like a hot minute. It's like like for like a couple weeks or something. They got a couple months with them before they lost them to the Street Profits. So that's nothing to sneeze at. Profits have long been overdue getting being tag team champions again. So it's like I had no problem with it.
All right, so let's switch to the mid card real quick. Obviously, spoilers. Penta was officially like you saw him tonight.
You mean Ray Phoenix?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Ray Phoenix. Sorry, Penta's brother, Ray Phoenix.
Tonight's new promo made it clear Ray Phoenix is coming and he's going to be on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm fine with this, and because let them both have some singles work on their own to establish themselves, and then eventually you can bring them together as Lucha Brothers and have them dominate the tag scene.
Yeah, because if they brought them in together, actually, I like the way they're doing this.
I like this, and have them on different shows so that they both can establish themselves separate from each other for a while before you have them tag team.
Yeah, because it's kind of a like they fell into having a really good situation.
Like Phoenix in the mid card scene over there in the U.S. title scene, that's going to kick ass. Just like what Penta's been doing with Braun and Judgment Day over on Raw.
Oh yeah, because Penta, because they're like we can't just keep Penta on the sideline.
Also, that other promo is definitely Aleister Black.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that.
I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Triple H doing right by Black.
Yeah. So that's the one thing.
And that makes sense because his wife Selena Vega is on SmackDown, so I figured he'd be on SmackDown.
Right. And Selena, the Piper stuff was fine, but I just I don't know. I don't.
I like Selena, but I just don't buy her as a credible threat to Chelsea right now to take the title from her. I mean, obviously, I think that's probably going to be a Mania match. I would assume is Selena versus Chelsea. It'll probably be good, but there's going to be a lot of shenanigans.
Yeah, probably.
Because she's been feuding with Michin for a long time. It's like it's time for her to have another challenger to feud with for a while. It's like,
here's all right. So to end the SmackDown review, I didn't care for that. I thought Punk would come out with more fire, and he just was like, "I don't like you. I don't like you. Okay, whatever."
I agree. There should have been. It's like they those three didn't bring the fire last week.
No.
With the contract signing tonight, I knew they were holding off, but just for our review, they were holding off because they brought the fire tonight with the contract
for our review for last week's.
We'll talk about that next week.
I was very underwhelmed.
Yeah.
I was underwhelmed.
I was also underwhelmed with the interaction between the three of them last week. It's like they made up for it this week, and we'll talk about that next week.
So that's the last thing I will say about SmackDown because we're kind of this is the first time we were doing the SmackDown already happened, so now we're gonna not doing spoilers, but we're spoiling it. But let's talk about Raw, and I think it was the same promo. I really did. Same damn promo he did last week. But here's Raw's.
All right, to recap what happened on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw from Glasgow, Scotland. John Cena opened up the show again with another promo. Sum it up, basically, he vowed that he was going to make the fans suffer by rooting wrestling for him. He was going to win number 17, make them forget about Ric Flair, and then take the title home and retire with it. as an FU to the fans. Cody came out and interrupted, and they had words hype up their WrestleMania match. Then we had Jey Uso teaming up with his brother Jimmy for the first time in a long time as they took on A-Town Down Under in a tag match. Usos picked up the victory with the 1D. They went to oppose, but Gunther attacked. Jay fought back. Although he slipped doing a spear attempt. Doesn't look like it was. It looked like it was an accident, but it was definitely probably part of the whole thing. Jimmy eventually grabbed a chair and got Gunther out of the ring. A video recapping El Grande Americano's history, which was completely fake, which both Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee complained to Nicholas about. Chad Gable said that he was not medically cleared to face Dragon Lee, but El Grande Americano would face him instead. Then we had a women's Intercontinental title match, Lara Valkyrie defending against Raquel Rodriguez. She was able to pick up the victory, reversing a Tiana bomb into a victory roll. The heels tried to beat her down afterwards, but Bayley came out to make the save. They recapped all the issues going on between Rhea, Bianca Belair, and Io Sky. And Pierce came out to address the situation, saying that even though Rhea signed the contract, doesn't mean she's in the title match in this triple threat. Bianca and Io came out, and Rhea then also came out. More words exchanged and led to a big brawl again. And but Pierce set up Rhea getting a rematch with Io Sky for the title next week, and then he named Bianca Belair as a special guest referee, which she wasn't thrilled about. Then we had Dragon Lee taking on El Grande Americano. He made Dragon Lee tap out to an ankle lock, pick up the victory. They recap what happened between Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk on SmackDown, and that they're going to have a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Punk came out to cut a promo on both guys, hyping up their match. Logan Paul said in a video saying he was going to be there next week in London for Raw to call AJ Styles out. Then we had our main event, Braun Breaker defending the Intercontinental Championship against Penta. Judgment Day got involved, which led to a disqualification. After the match, Finn Balor came out to assist with a beatdown with Dominic and Carlito. Dominic tried to recruit Penta for Judgment Day, but he turned it down and attacked. Finn laid him out and laid them both out with chair shots. And the Judgment Day stood tall to close out the show. So that's all that happened on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw.
All right. Couple things that stuck out to me. The Chad Gable stuff. I know the internet has taken one way or the other. To me, I thought this was very entertaining.
Yes. And I think people are missing the point. It's supposed to piss you off.
Yeah.
Because it's complete bullshit. That's what Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee were all pissed off at. It appears like,
yeah. It's like the dude. It's like the Robert Downey Jr. Like that's the whole point. Is like you would put somebody that's not that.
The whole video package about Americano was bullshit.
Oh, and with the Gulf of America and like all that shit.
That's just it. I know that's going to annoy some people, but they're taking advantage of real life stuff to add a little heat. That's it's like it goes back to the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov back in the 80s. It's like it's like America. It's like
no, Sergeant Slaughter when he decided with Iraq or whatever it was.
It's like they're taking advantage of current political stuff.
I think this is when we kept bitching about.
They usually don't do that much anymore, but this one that makes sense.
Well, and this is here's the thing is because, and I understand where we're coming from because it was Vince doing it, but I don't think it was coming from like the right mind. He was just doing it just because he could. Whereas like this one, I think they are doing it like a Tropic. This is how I'm seeing it. It's a Tropic Thunder. I'm the dude playing a dude disguised as another dude type of scenario.
Yeah.
And plus it gives like Chad Gable something to do, who we've been bitching about. Like you re-signed him. He was right there on like the top of his mid-card level, who can do anything you want him to do. And then you just give him Alpha Academy and doesn't do shit, or out whatever they're doing now. And then he does this thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm bought back into Chad Gable again. And because Chad Gable is worth it. So I will be with the whole thing of like, I like what
I think it's hilarious.
I am entertained
I am entertained.
because I am entertained. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Sports entertainment, not
you're supposed
sports.
to be hating on Chad Gable because
Right. That's like you're supposed to
even
draw
though
heat.
he's trying to be like, oh, that's not me. Kind of yes. Yeah,
it's the anti Hulk Hogan, Mr. America, whatever it was at the time. That being said, that to me that was really good, and I know it got controversy on the shows. The big thing that I really wanted to talk about. Let's just. I think John Cena said the same damn thing.
It felt a little bit repetitive outside until he got to when he actually talked about winning 17 and making it like, I'm going to make you all forget Ric Flair. I'm going to take the title home with me to F you all.
I understand that. I just wanted a little bit. I'm just sorry. I want
like the Rock stuff to come into play. Hopefully, we're going to get that.
I haven't said anything about that. He hasn't gone a back and forth with Cody. 2 weeks in a row, we've gotten John Cena comes out and says,
I think they've been waiting. I think they're waiting till this third one for Cena to really unload on Cody, which kind of needs to happen. Because Cody's done a good job of ripping him. So I think Cena needs. I think Cena really needs to return to favor, especially if this is the last one he's going to be able to do in person before Mania. This one on Monday in London. So yeah, I'm with you. Some of it was a bit repetitive, but there was still some good stuff in there. So
yeah, and like if you want to look at layers, like him saying like, I'm gonna take the title with me, and y'all can make up some other toy belt, which is kind of making fun of the fact that he had the spinner belt. I'm not dumb. I understand what he was talking about. He was actually making fun of the fact that like I wanted to not do the spinner belt, but the company made me do it. So because I was a champion at then, and everyone hated it. So yeah, I'm gonna take that belt with me, and then you all can make up some other bullshit that it is. That being said, that was like the last 20% of his promo. Like the Ric Flair stuff, I loved it, but it felt like I got the same thing.
Yeah,
I did. And like we talked about, like and Gift talked about it last week. He said, "Oh, it's lackluster," and that was kind of divisive promo. And we both were like, "It's laying the foundation." How much did we build from that foundation that he laid? Wasn't as much as what I was expecting. That being said, with this Triple H era, every time we criticize like, when are we going to get this, and then it pays off, we are so excited. So I'm with you on the fact of, and thank you for bringing that up, I'm with you on the fact of next week, if we don't get the Cody back and forth that I want right now, and him bringing up The Rock, that's when I'm going to be like, dude, we're like 3 weeks away from WrestleMania. And I need, and they know, like John Cena and Cody are those dudes. So I'm not too worried about it, but 2 weeks in a row, and you only have so many.
Yeah. You only have so many. Yeah, exactly. So I'm with you on that.
Those are two things that like stuck out to me. What really other things that stuck out
that
to me?
And it's like wondering, like, we're still a few weeks of Mania, and I have no idea what they're going to be doing with what Liv Raquel, Lyra, and Bayley are going to be doing. It's like, I'm just going to say it now. We'll probably go into it more with NXT. Where the F is Roxanne Perez? Where's the Prodigy? What happened to the feud with Bayley? Is that completely dropped now? I do not understand. It's like she's MIA, and I don't understand this. It's like
I wanted you to say it without me. I think they realize that that's not a WrestleMania match. They're going to do it after Mania, but why would you build that if you're going to do it after Mania?
Yeah, it's like
so you're gonna give Rox. I mean, granted, Roxanne deserves some rest, but she's also 22.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
like
she's
she
about.
needs.
It's like she's definitely going to get called up after Mania. It's like that's not a question. It's just like if she's not going to be on Stand and Deliver, give her something to do at WrestleMania at least. It's like for the love of God.
Yeah.
When we get to NXT, things are getting a little more clear about what we're going to see at Stand and Deliver. I think. Yeah, it's like so, but it's like, yeah, it's like this with all the stuff that she was doing on Raw. I'm just like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like actually, it's like is it, okay? Are they going to challenge for the tag titles? Because I thought also that Bailey was going to say like, why if I beat Raquel, I'm going to give you a shot. Maybe that's where Roxanne returns. I don't know because like,
but she can return as a babyface though.
Will make no sense.
She can return as a babyface. Like they've been building her.
Yeah.
Like I know the casual fans don't know her. She's a face or a heel because no one. Unfortunately, the casual fans don't pay attention to NXT, which makes no sense. But like a lot of times, I'm like, Lyra has done. Give Roxanne that belt. Watch how she can move the needle.
Right.
Nothing against Lyra. She ain't.
They need
Roxanne.
to give Lyra more character stuff. Like
yes,
it's like they need to do like more character building stuff. Like they're doing. Like I didn't get the Soul Ruka Zara pairing as a tag team, but it's giving them character stuff to work with. It's like so it's building. It's like
and they're great.
It's like I'm digging the pairing now. I want to see them challenge for the tag titles now.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Roxanne. It's making me nervous.
It's weird.
Another pairing. We thought we were gonna get Joe Hendry.
I know a lot of people were hoping because it was they were in Scotland that it was going to be Joe Hendry, but we got
the Usos, man.
It was a cool moment. Jimmy makes more sense storyline wise.
It was one time I was like, okay, it's not Joe Hendry, and Jimmy just came out and just hugged his brother, and I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm with that because
it's been a while. It's like it's
really it has.
Yeah, so it was nice to see them tag team again. And plus that with the whole Gunther thing and the slap, Gunther's going to murderize Jimmy on Raw on Monday, and he's probably going to just it's got to be a stretcher job.
And I will say this is one thing I did like is they're finally getting to the point where whether or not that was a botch or not,
I don't think it was. I think the week before may have been a botch. But that slip was definitely intentional, and they're adding into the storyline.
Yeah, because Jay just looking at his brother.
He sold it like it looked like it. That was a legit mistake. I think
this was the gear that I wanted. Was like maybe Jay doesn't have it in him, and just like Jimmy being like, no, dude, you've got it. You need like
Gunther putting Jimmy out on a stretcher. That's gonna make Jay go into super angry. I'm gonna destroy you at WrestleMania.
No. This episode was exactly what that Gunther Jay needed.
Yes,
I know people are like, is that a botch or anything?
Now it feels like that feud is going in the right direction for Mania,
right? Because we know what's gonna happen is Jay's gonna win. But
yes, Jay's gonna win.
We just need to be like. We need to believe that Jay is just so down about it. And shout out to Jay, because Jay was on an interview. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah. Jay was on an interview, was basically like, I'm not the best wrestler, but I'm on top. Like he straight up just said it. He was like, yeah. I'm not the best technical wrestler or whatever. But I'm on top.
Yeah.
We've said it before. It's like you can't deny what Jay is. We give shit to him and his brother's match. Yeah, because they're both the same. We thought they'd be better. But Jay is still a good wrestler, and on top of it, he's a draw. Like his merch is he's Jay. We wouldn't have popped so hard for Jay winning, not just because we were like so surprised about it, but we thought he deserved it when he won the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a big Jay guy. I also know his faults. And I just needed to have the build. This looks like they're in the right build.
Yeah.
Because Gunther's going to this is gonna be the best match Jay's ever had in his career.
Yes.
And it
absolutely.
has, and nothing against Jay, but at like 65% Gunther.
Oh, yeah.
And LFG, you probably watched it where Undertaker was like, "That's my guy. I claim him." About Gunther,
Right.
you know, just hey, there's only a certain amount of like in this era that we're living in. There's just one guy who's like, "Oh, we'll give you a paper bag. Go do something." Gunther's gonna put on a 4-star match with a paper bag. He just will. Same thing with Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, honestly, Seth Rollins. But those are the things that stuck out to me with that. But yeah, those kind of things.
Main event was great. I knew there was going to be a fuck finish, but yeah, it's like it was still a great match. So it definitely looks like the rumors of this being a fatal 4-way for the IC title. That's where it's going, and that's going to lead to the final Finn and Judgment Day dissolution.
Yeah, because it's
you could like they showed it like when he offered the chair, they did a quick cut over to Finn, and Finn's like, "Are you effing kidding me?" Like,
right
before Penta attacked him with the chair, as to say like, no, thank you.
Right. But yeah, no. I'm glad Penta is involved, but Sheamus is not involved. That's a weird thing.
That is a weird thing.
So I guess Sheamus is going to eventually get his IC title.
I guess
it's not going to be a Mania.
I thought they would give him like make it a WrestleMania mode, but
maybe a SummerSlam. Like I would figure it's going to be a big
maybe SummerSlam.
SummerSlam makes sense. Because maybe it's not against Bronson Reed. I mean, not Bronson Reed, but Braun Breaker. There's too many Brons in wrestling right now. Okay, confusing me. But I think Braun Breaker will eventually lose it, and then Sheamus will take it.
I feel like they're setting up this 4-way to get the title off Braun without jobbing him.
Yep.
So that because I've talked about it. I know it's getting ahead of ourselves, but I mean, eventually Braun is going to go after Jay when he's world champion, and it's like he's going to get that title. It's like it's only a matter of time.
You are correct on that. I think Penta's probably going to win it. That or Dominic.
I think most likely it's got to be either Penta or Dominic is winning the title at Mania. Would be my guess.
Yeah.
Dominic I would be fine with Dominic because that would give him some major heat, man. It's like
huge.
When he was NXT North American champion. Oh my God, the heat he got down in NXT was off the charts.
The only thing I would think of is at WrestleMania, someone helps Dominic, whoever it is,
replace Finn.
The new member that they keep teasing about will help Dominic win the championship.
Mm-hmm.
That way, Sheamus can come in.
At this point, like that would be Omos because they haven't it's like they recalled Omos from a champ, but he hasn't shown up yet on TV yet. So that would make sense. That would be kind of a cool like, oh my God, kind of moment. Because there's going to be all kinds of shenanigans. Because with a fatal 4-way, there's no DQ, no count out. So like all kinds of shenanigans are going to happen.
No.
So I think that's probably going to get confirmed probably this week that's going to get added to the Mania card. So that'll be fun. Trying to think what else from Raw.
I really can't. That's pretty much all I got as far as like that's. The women's stipulation stuff. You want to go over or the whole Rhea Ripley?
Oh, that was fine. Although it's getting a little bit over the top. Of like, I was like, but as soon as Pierce made Bianca the special guest referee, I'm like, okay, so yeah, there's going to be all that match is not going to have a clean finish. It's probably going to be a complete clusterfuck. And then we're finally going to get the triple threat main official.
Yeah, that like I know I put it on our Discord. I was like,
I appreciate though that they didn't go that because she signed her name to the contract. It's going to be a triple threat. I'm like, I did appreciate that, but Bianca being the special guest referee for this rematch, it's like there's going to be all kinds of fuckery going on.
Yeah.
She'll probably end up maybe doing like a double DQ or something because they both put their hands on her or something, and so we don't have a clean finish. And then Pierce is gonna have no choice because Rhea's gonna lose her shit. It's like that. It's like Bianca has screwed her again, and this time she'll have a more legit gripe. It's like,
Yeah,
but it's a little weird because a lot of people are like, "This, why would he make her the special guest referee? She's never done refereeing before." I love that. I know that Bianca called like, "I haven't done. What do you mean? I've never done a referee. I've never done referee work before."
right.
Like, I do appreciate her call out. Like, what do you mean you're making me a special guest referee? I've never done referee work before. What is this?
Right. Yeah. What is it?
So,
But yeah, I remember you posting on like when you posted on our Discord, link down below. But
yeah, I was like,
you were
I
saying
told
like,
them,
and I was like,
that
at
match
this
is going to
point,
be fine. It's going to have a clean finish, no problem whatsoever. It's going to be
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. And I was like, and you were like, this is a cluster F, and I was like, at this point, every time we're just like, why the hell are they doing this? And then they do what they need to do, and we're like,
Right.
oh, we're satisfied.
Right.
There's very rare times in this Triple H era where we're just like, what the hell are you doing? Why did you do that? Like at the end of it,
Mhm.
right? Yes, long-term storytelling, like with the Jade stuff and other things, we're just like, where you like, why? This sounds repetitive, all this other crap. And then the payoff happens, we're like, never mind. I'm sorry. We're just so used to the Vince McMahon just every 2 weeks we get some other payoff, whereas Triple H, he takes his time.
Mhm.
And it's just something that we've been wanting.
Yeah.
And then when we got it, we're just not used to it yet.
Yeah. I think that covers pretty much Raw. I think we covered pretty much everything on Raw. So,
Are you gonna gripe about Dynamite?
you know what? I'll say this before we get into it. I felt Dynamite was better this week.
I was getting around. I was like, what do you have to gripe about? Because like for a Dynamite
Not too
episode,
much, I don't have too much to gripe about. There's a lot of stuff I liked on this week's show.
yeah. I mean, we got swerve on swerve.
And then we'll save the NXT juiciness for last, like as usual.
No, NXT sucks. What are you talking about? Anyway, here's AEW.
All right, as a recap, what happened on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. That's the road to AEW Dynasty, and Week and a Half continues. Open with Kenny Omega versus Blake Christian. Pretty much a squash match for Kenny, won in less than 5 minutes with Rolling Angel. Went to cut a promo afterwards about facing Ricochet and Speedball Mike Bailey for the International Title Dynasty. Speedball came out, interrupted first, basically saying, I admire and respect you, but I'm not going to hold back. I'm coming for the title. Then Ricochet had a pre-taped promo. Really, he wasn't there because he was getting married to Samantha today, but promised to beat them both for the title, and then he'll have the title and the girl. Kenny says, I don't think so, and that closed out the segment. Jericho complained to Learning Tree that members that they keep screwing up and then need to go prove themselves. They called out Bandito and challenged him to a title versus Bandito's Mask ROH title match at AEW Dynasty. MJF came out and asked MVP to come out. He said that after thinking about it, he's not good friends, but he definitely wants to look for people that can do business, and he knows MVP is trustworthy because of business and wants to do business with him in the Hurt Business. Before they shook hands, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, the tag team champions, came out. Lashley asked for the card from MJF and ripped it up, making it clear that he doesn't want MJF to work with Hurt Business. MVP was able to calm things down and said that they'll talk things out. Then Big Bill and Brian Keith came out and challenged the Hurt Syndicate to a tag team match. MVP told them to go win a match or two first, and then they'll talk. So it was Tony Storm and Thunder Rosa cut a promo in the back, hyping up their match against Megan Bayne and Penalty before the main event later in the show, with Tony dubbing their team name Thunder Tits. She's the best. Then we had Brody King taking on Kyle Fletcher in a one-on-one match. Kyle Fletcher picked up the victory. After the match, Mark Davis, who had come out to help provide a distraction earlier, went to help him do a beatdown, but Powerhouse Pops came up with a save. Then he had a match with Mark Davis and squashed him in just over 2 minutes with a spine buster. Nick Wayne was interviewed in the back, saying he understands how things are and willing to explain his actions interfering in the title match last week, attacking Copeland. He said last week, he saw what happens when things go as they're supposed to go. further dissing Christian. Hangman made it clear he's looking to regain the AEW title by winning the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Swerve came in and they got into it again, just like old times. A sit-down interview was aired earlier between Copeland and FTR. They all issued apologies about what's been going on lately. And Cash suggested that they go after the Trios titles, and they challenged the Death Riders to a Trios title match at Dynasty. And the Death Riders later in the show accepted. So the match is on. Source Brooklyn came out in a promo calling out Jon Moxley. Moxley came out. They had words. Claudio showed up threatening to hurt Prince Nana, but Moxley told him to hold off. Marina Shafir tried to sneak attack with a crowbar, but was cut off by Willow Nightingale in a lead pipe, sort of saying that he had already planned ahead and that he's going to take the title from Moxley at Dynasty. Death Riders went to leave, but Marina Shafir and Willow got into it again, had to be held apart. In the back, Samoa Joe asked Hook why he choked out Max Caster in Collision. Hook said it was fun, and so he snuck up and sneak attacked Max Caster while he was doing his usual stick with Top Flight and AR Fox, choked him out, and then told Hook that he was right, it was fun. Jay White announced that he's entering into the Owen Hart Cup tournament to try to earn a title shot at All In. Then we had Top Flight taking on Devil Knight and Alex Finley. Top Flight picked up the victory. They announced that Will Ospreay will be back in action next week on Dynamite. They had Mark Briscoe taking on Konosuke Takeshita. Takeshita picked up the victory. The Hurt Syndicate told MVP that they're not sure if MJF is joining the Hurt Syndicate is a good idea. MVP still thinks it is because he's reprehensible. But if they really don't want it, then he understands, and that right now they're going to focus on worrying about taking care of the learning tree. So then we got our main event. Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa taking on Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne. The heels picked up the victory with Megan Bayne taking out and pinning Timeless Toni Storm with the F5. Toni looks like it wasn't handling well as Thunder Rosa comforted her, and Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford celebrated to close out the show. So that's all that happened on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite.
All right, so I'm a big proponent. Don't pin your champion, but this is the way you can pin it and make it and elevate her opponent. So this is.
Now you're more worried about Timeless Tony's title defense at the pay-per-view because Megan Bayne looks like a wrecking machine right now.
Yeah, and when you pin her, because they pinned Roxanne before when they were in like a tag team match. But it's not it's not a one-on-one. That's the one thing I don't like is when you pin your champion, which is like a you get the one-on-one to get a like, oh, I can't believe they pinned the champion in a non-title match. I'm like, that's the dumbest. Don't ever do that. That is terrible. Same thing with tag teams. It's like, oh, they like when Pretty Deadly beat DIY like a month ago. I'm like, why? Why were you doing that? Like that makes no sense. I'm still not big on pinning your champion, but you need to make Megan Bayne worth beating. Timeless Toni Storm is at that like Rhea level of like no one can touch me, and you have booked her in that situation. You need to have someone to show that yes, she can be beat, but it's not a one-on-one thing. It's a tag team thing. So that can work. I don't like it. Like I'm not like 100% around it, but I understand that can work that way.
Yeah.
Also too, WWE just dropped the ball on Swerve Strickland because he was all over this episode and he was dynamite. No pun intended.
And that was definitely more Vince's fault. Although he said him and Triple H, it's like
he did come out and talk about that. Hurt Syndicate.
Didn't like completely click, but he says that him and Triple H still have a good relationship, so it means that him and Triple H stay in touch. So that was more Vince. Also, he's talked about it. I think also Top Dollar was one of the main reasons why Hit Row got fucked.
Yeah, and but Top Dollar
He
just
didn't say
came
his
out like,
name, but
look,
he made it clear that a member of Hit Row really pissed off some people and that helped completely sink them. There's only one person that I think that fits the bill.
I've listened every side of that story, and even Top Dollar even came back today or like a couple days ago and just like, no, I'm gonna support her, and if you're gonna support her, I'm a take up for her. I'm like, I understand that, and I like what you're standing with because you're on the right side of that, but you also have to understand who's writing your paychecks
Yeah,
and who he is as a person.
yeah.
If you go out against him and you're not making him money, he's an asshole. I'm sorry. Look at what Vince has done.
Once you get into doghouse with Vince, it's hard to get out of the doghouse.
Yeah, and he's gonna take everyone else down with you because Vince is. I understand the morals that he stands on because I will back Top Dollar immediately because everything was fab and they were treating her wrong, and then Top Dollar just happened to call Vince and be like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that," and I swear to you, probably Vince been like, "Who? What? Who are you?"
But anyway, we went off on a tangent there. But yeah, you're seeing like the potential that Swerve could have had in WWE is being fulfilled in AEW, and that's perfectly fine. Yeah, it's like he's getting to thrive there like he should. You know, this is what I thought. I'm like when I saw Swerve next day, I'm like this guy is money. It's like, and I thought he would get a fair shot on the main roster. You know, it's like Hit Row because Hit Row was great. It was a great new group. It's like, it's like unfortunately Vince happened. It's like so.
Yeah. And all four of them are still doing well in different organizations.
Yeah, two of them are still working. BFAB and Ashante are still with WWE.
Yeah.
Ashante is in NXT right now, but at least he's got a storyline going on, and BFAB has been featured lately. You know, like they're giving her stuff to do. It's like so. It's like
Top Dollar's doing this thing in TNA. So
and AJ's thrived over in TNA. So it's like it's like it. Yeah, what happened to him sucked, but it's like they all turned out all right. So, but yeah, no, this is why I'm like, oh please, it's like Swerve is so good. Please let him beat Moxley, please.
Yeah.
Let's end this Death Riders bullshit. I'm almost over it.
And we still got another little every time we can have Swerve and Hangman have a confrontation, even if it's just subtly. Things.
I look forward to another match between them with the title on because like every time they fought, there was no title involved. It's like
no. And I think Tony knows that those are his like top five guys like MJF and like nothing against Mox, but like MJF and like those two guys. It pisses Triple H off because he cannot get Hangman away from AEW because Hangman is such a prototype. He is literally like the incarnated better version of Triple H to me. Like how his look, his demeanor, his go fuck yourself situation, and how he can go from face to.
And he did a good job in that Pro War with Moxley. It's like he got some really good shots in on Moxley.
Yeah, and Swerve's so good.
He is so good.
I'm
all in on this MGF Hurt Business, Hurt Syndicate story.
I am. I really am. I'm liking where this is. I
like that. Okay. I like that. It makes sense. Like Lashley and Shelton are like, I don't know if we can trust that piece of shit. It's like, right. But MVP's like, well, it's because he's reprehensible that I want him to join work with us. It's like.
The only thing that I would say is because it's the same exact storyline that they kind of did with the Inner Circle with MJF and Wardlow, in a sense.
Well, that was more. It's like, but like he made it clear, like, hey, like I know I'm not looking for friends, but I know I'm looking for someone that I know I can work with business wise. It's like, so I'm ready to see where this is going to go next with Lashley and Sheldon be like, we're not down with MJF MVP.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna highlight our buddy Giff.
Mm-hmm.
That Kyle Fletcher Brody King match.
Also, I want to give a shout out to Tony for the Thunder Tits. That was hilarious, and it's like the fans immediately took to it because they were chanting Thunder Tits during the main event match.
Nice.
So that's why I got my Thomas Tony versus Street Fighter shirt on tonight too, because she rules.
Yeah. But like I was saying, shout out to Giff. That Kyle Fletcher Brody King match.
That was great.
I
just don't like seeing Brody keep jobbing.
No, I don't either. But you have to.
You could have pulled someone else in there to get Fletcher over, but it's just like I don't understand why are you having Brody is very over. It's like, why are you having him like putting other people over? He should be. It's like he's long overdue for a singles title run. It's like, seriously.
Because that's the thing that people like. Oh, AEW can create stars, and we listed a bunch of them. Kyle Fletcher is one of them, and Brody King to me is a star that AEW is making, but they keep booking him odd, and it's so we're all like, Brody is that, like, they try to get Brody there and then they just take a step back with them.
Yeah.
Whereas Kyle, like, everything about Kyle is progressing in the right way.
Well, I did like that the immediate aftermath was Hobbs like squashed like Mark Davis like a bug. I did like that.
Yeah.
Also, congrats to Ricochet and Samantha Irving for tying the knot on Wednesday.
I did see that. Congratulations to them.
So it's like it's like he really was. I think it was in Vegas. I think it was in Vegas because they both lived there. Which would explain why it was daylight when he was cutting that promo versus where they were located. Perfectly legit reason why not to be there. It's like that whole interaction opening was fine. It's like it was right. It was like I was like, oh, they're giving Kenny a squash match to open the show. Okay, cool. Some of these squash matches, it's like, sometimes can be effective, and it's like, I thought that was fine.
The Kesha Mark Briscoe match, like, where did that come from?
I think that was off of something that happened on Collision.
Okay, because I don't watch Collision.
It was a great match. Yeah. I'm wondering. It's like I'm hoping that this leads to eventually Bill and Brian Keith finally breaking away from Jericho because they need to get away from him. And it's like, this is what it feels like.
Plus, with Nick Wayne and all the other stuff that's going.
That's a weird one too. It's like
that's the weirdest one of this show. I'm like,
that was where I'm like, where is this going with these issues between Nick Wayne and Christian? It's like it very hopefully leads to something good. So that was one of the few things I was kind of like, on the show. Overall, I thought that was a pretty solid show.
Yeah, and it's the crazy thing about
way better than last week's episode. Way better.
Well, here's the thing: is a lot of the internet is saying that this episode is a little bit down compared to last week's episode, which I think it's because we put so much weight on that weird Death Riders thing, and the fact that you built so many stories in that last episode, whereas this one you kind of did, but you it was just a fine episode of like good wrestling, Swerve doing his thing, telling Moxley he sucks, going against Hangman in the background, MJF in the Hurt Business. But the episode before, outside of that Hurt Business nails spot, I thought was storyline wise, building stories was better. But this had better wrestling and not just bullshit, if that makes sense. So all I know is we're about to talk about NXT. And they know what they're doing. Yeah.
NXT is continuing to cook thanks to HBK. And it's like this was a very entertaining show, and getting a clear picture of where what kind of what matches there I think we're getting lined up for Stand and Deliver. So let's get into the some good stuff. Even though
I don't want to. I don't want to.
those projects was missed. Like I said.
She's not involved. I don't want to. I don't want to.
It's gonna be okay.
I don't like it.
I know.
Well, we can get.
It's okay. Here's a recap of what happened this week's episode. NXT back at the Pruitt Center in Orlando. Corey Graves returned to commentary to join Vic and Booker T. Opening match was for the NXT Women's Championship as Stephanie McCare looked to defend both singles titles in one night. She for defending the women's title against Jada Parker. Good match with McCare picking up the victory. Jordan Grace did show up and distracted Jada Parker at ringside, which did help Stephanie roll her up to retain. Jada and Jordan got into a brawl afterwards. And then Fatal Influence ran down and attacked Stephanie, laying her out, trying to soften her up ahead of the North American title match with Fallon Henley in the main event. Trick Williams doesn't want to hear what Javon says in the back. Metaphor and the women were talking. Metaphor complained about not getting the TNA Knockouts tag title shot, but Tatum Paxton and Gigi Dolan are. Vic had a sit-down interview with Ricky Saints about coming to NXT. It was interrupted by Sean Spears and the Culling. The two had words setting up a feud and future title match. Ethan Page and Andre Chase got into the back, which led to a match between the two of them. The Machine Guns gave Hank and Take a little bit of pep talk ahead of their match. Hank and Take took on Tyreek and Tyson. They lost to the heels. Stephanie McCare, despite being slightly injured from the attack of Fatal Influence, she told Ava she was still going to have the match with Fallon Henley and defend the title in the main event. Braxton got into an argument, but we're interrupted by the rival Obafemi on the screen. Then we had Heritage Cup match as Lex King defended against Javon Evans. Obafemi came out and laid out Javon when the referee didn't see, and Javon got counted out, giving Lexus King the victory. He wanted to try to beat up more, but Trick came out. He accidentally hit Trick knee on Javon while Dark State was watching from the audience and clapped at the chaos. Then we had a tag team match. Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxton taking on Metaphor. Gigi and Tatum picked up the victory with a combo finisher called the Cemetery Drive. Tony D'Angelo had a chat with family, wants to find out more about Dark State. Then he and Stax had words, making sure that, I trust you. Stax certain that he can. More Super Machine Guns, we're talking about Hank and Tank, telling them that not everything works for them. They got to find what works for them. That trust your partners. Don't try to compare yourself to other teams, including them. Then Ethan Page took on Andre Chase. Ethan picked up the victory with Twisted Grin. Ricky Saints was at the commentary desk for this match. After the match, Sean Spears and Culling attacked Ricky at ringside, laid him out, and it was later announced that Ricky would face Sean Spears for the North American title next week on NXT. Dark State cut a promo saying, "When they strike, no one is safe." Trick was interviewed in the back saying Javon's just a distraction, just like A. Thorpe. He wants Obafemi next week. And as far as Dark State's concerned, that's none of his business. So we got to our main event. Women's North American Championship. Stephanie McCare defending against Fallon Henley. Despite everything Phelan did, including trying to cheat like crazy, Stephanie overcame the cheating and the earlier attack and hit the SVB to pin her and retain. So Stephanie still has both championships, is still a double champion. Fatal Influence went to beat her down again after the match, but Jordan Grace ran down to make the save. Stephanie and her got into it, obviously, because she wants to challenge her for the NXT Women's Championship. Jada Parker ran down to attack Grace again and got laid out. And in the back, a lot of women were trying to vie with Ava about getting their shot at one of Stephanie's championships. Ava said that she's going to figure it out and make an announcement next week. And then went back to the ring as Stephanie Becker and Jordan Grace had another stare down to close out the show. So that's all that happened on this week's episode of NXT.
Right.
NXT is just so much fun right now.
All right. Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time that the Dark State, whatever they're called, has talked. And what do you think about them? Because like last week, I said they're not that bright spot. And now they've been talking, and we can see where they're going. Do you think this is going in the right direction, or are we hiding inefficient wrestlers?
I like where I'm now liking where the direction is going because of the various obvious hints that Trick is either in charge of this group or is aligned with this group, because they have not touched Trick. They've attacked a lot of their baby faces. They haven't laid a finger on Trick yet.
Okay.
And his whole, Dark State, that's none of my business. Oh, really?
So, again, it sounds like a CM Punk in the Shield at the time.
Yeah. Sounds very much, yeah, I was going to say, like, it kind of reminds me of, like, Punk, when, like, the Shield first showed up. Punk's like, I got nothing to do with those guys, and it turned out, yeah, he did.
He did, but Vince McMahon was like, oh, no, we're going to swerve it again, and they're just going to be whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, because, like, look, it's like, and like Gift pointed out, like, it's like I saw the people like, wait a minute, could Trick be involved with Dark State? Is like, because what happened, I was like, and I thought about, I'm like, okay, it's like they've attacked Obo, they've attacked Javon, they attacked Tony, they've attacked a lot of the big baby faces. They've attacked a lot of the big baby faces on NXT in the men's division, except for Trick.
But why would they attack? Well, why would Trick be involved with it if he's going to the main roster?
Maybe it's a Shield thing. Maybe it's like he's just taking advantage of what they're doing. It's like with Punk with the Shield. It's like they're not like permanent allies, but it's like maybe it's like he's kind of taking advantage of the chaos. Yeah.
But this episode went exactly what we're talking about with Stephanie and her title defenses.
Yeah, historic night, because as they pointed out, it's like both Seth and Becky, when they had both two singles titles and tried to defend them both in one night, they lost one of them. She did not.
Nope.
She's still double champ.
Yep. And it was against Jada Parker that I was expecting.
Yeah. No, Jada got to look good. And I was like, okay. Yeah, I was wondering, like, are they going to have her drop? But then when they had fatal influence, like, attack her after the match with Jada, I was like, okay, yeah, they're really want you to think she's going to lose the top side. She's not. She's going to overcome the odds. No. That's exactly what happened.
She is, like I was saying last week, she's over.
Yep. She's killing it.
Yeah.
And
we're just all happy we're there. That being said, speaking about over,
at three-way matches, or because like I thought we were just gonna get Oba Trick, but Javon's kind of involved, so it's like
this is the best that Javon has looked to me in a while.
I'm glad that Javon's not putting up with Tricks like right. whole bullshit. It's like. Yeah. And Oba shows, like, don't piss off Oba Femi, because he's like
when Javon was in the ring and Oba just starts climbing up, and I'm like, oh, you messed, like the shot of that. I'm like, all right.
And God bless Lexus King going on social media and be like, another great win for me, man. It's fair and square. Like completely ignoring the fact that Oba Femi laid out, Javon, and he won by count out. It's like that's great heel stuff.
And we were worried about like what's going to happen if Trick leaves. We've got Oba, know, and Javon is working well. Ricky is doing well. That was the next thing. Is his interview, which it's Ricky. Like
that whole face off between him and Spears. I'm like sold.
Yep, it's Ricky. Like
especially the AEW illusions were like. Oh, it's like, well, you could always go back. Oh, wait a minute, you burned all your bridges. I'm like,
right. No, it's Ricky, man. Like people don't understand. Like us as marks,
North American title is going to look nice on Ricky when he eventually wins it. I don't think he's going to win it next week.
No.
I think there's going to be fuckery, and they'll have like a rematch at Stand and Deliver.
No, and Ricky is the feature.
Yeah,
not just in NXT, but in wrestling in general.
He's going to take when it's Oba's time. He's going to take that NXT championship and run with it.
But what? And it comes back to the way we talked about. Where is Tony fit in all this?
Yeah, because he's kind of, they're starting to move him away from the North American title scene. And he's talking about I want to find out what these dark state assholes are up to. So I think this is the beginning of the transition of moving him into the NXT title picture because
he deserves it.
He deserves it, and plus with the history with him and him and Oba, that's a perfect title feud for Oba to have. Because he's gonna be I'm the only person who's beaten you, Oba. It's I can beat you again. I'll take the title from you. Because Oba's gonna have the title for a while. He's not losing to Stand and Deliver. He's not losing to Trick or Javon. He's killing it right now. He's mega over. They're doing a good job of slowly rebuilding the men's division because the women's division is up here and the men's is down here. But it's with Ricky and some other stuff going on. It feels like it's getting better. And it's
we've got
plus Wesley's still involved in the picture.
Ethan Page.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I won't be surprised if you think it gets called up.
No, but where do you put Ethan?
That's the thing. That's a good question.
He has every making of a top guy, but there's those top guys that Ethan is not a top guy at. So let's put him in the mid card. Let's put him in the mid card and on Raw. It's the talent is so ripe in that. Oba is gonna work. There's no doubt about it. Oba's gonna work. You see those guys where it's all right, those guys are gonna work. Oba's gonna work.
Because I tell you, it's we're gonna get some money stuff because there's definitely setting up Ricky to take the North American title, and then him and Wesley are gonna feud over that title, and that's gonna be money.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've already teased that Wes is not fond of Ricky either. So it's give me that feud over North American title. Yes, please. It's we'll have some banger matches. And they're really lucky with how much talent they got in the women's division because with Julie having to step away for a little bit, having the drop title, it's how can you ask for a better person to step up and be the head of division right now than Stephanie McCurry? She's just killing it.
Yeah, and then Jordan Grace is right there too.
And you got Jordan Grace. Jade is really stepping up. It's very interesting what they're doing. They're really kind of I didn't know better. I think they'd be bringing back the NXT Women's Tag Titles with all the tag teaming that's going on in the women's division. But it's also part of the TNA crossover, and it's they're giving helping out the Knockouts tag team division because Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan had a shot at the tag team titles against the Elegance Ladies, and the Metaphor is definitely also angling for that as well. So. And I'm liking where Soul and Zarya are going. It's I'd love to see Soul and Zarya challenge Liv and Raquel for the tag titles. That'll be a fucking banger match.
The only thing I'm worried about TNA is the fact that they keep firing all the top heads.
Oh, that reminds me. We didn't talk about the Gail Kim firing.
Nope.
We can go over that before we end the show because that's heinous.
Yeah, because we're an hour 45. So if you want to talk about that right now, because I just now remember that is heinous. That is some bullshit.
We can talk about what happened to Gail Kim. That is absolutely horrible. I don't know what the executives Anthem they're running TNA what they're thinking, but their loss is going to be either WWE or AEW's game because WWE AEW is going to snatch her up. Honestly, it's either have her help the main roster at WWE or help the women's roster at AEW.
They need more help, but Gail Kim, I honestly
NXT,
tinfoil
you
hat.
don't need her down in NXT. NXT women's division has been cooking. HBK is handling that pretty well, but the main roster could definitely use a Gail Kim influence. I think.
Maybe the only thing I can think of, like Tinfoil Hat, is two ways. The reason they let her go is because they brought back Tessa Blanchard and she didn't want to work with her.
That's a possibility.
It's a possibility. Other than that, it's that WWE is basically wanting to buy TNA, and they're trying to get rid of certain people.
That's gets into the weird conspiracy stuff that I'm not going to go into.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Tinfoil Hat. Like, to me, I think it makes most sense. The reason they're letting her go is because they brought back Tessa Blanchard and she didn't want to work with her.
Maybe.
And like that's the only logical thing I could think of, because the one thing about TNA, once they dropped off, in a sense, their women's knockout division has been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's never
really pissing off a lot of the people in that division right now with Gail Kim, because a lot of the wrestlers went to social media and vocalized that their unhappiness over it.
Yeah,
it's like, I mean, Jordan Gray. The reason Jordan Grace left TNA was because they got rid of Scott D'Amore.
Right.
That was like when that happened. She saw I think it's time for me to move on. And it's like, and she, with the relationship with WWE, she knew that WWE was be like, hey, we'd love to have you. It's like, and it's like, so, she made it clear it's like Scott getting fired was one of the main reasons why she chose to leave TNA and go to WWE.
So I mean, obviously, like we talked about, like Scott D'Amore would be great for AEW, and then he went on and did his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
If AEW can get Gail Kim to run their women's division, which their women's division has gotten better, a whole lot better for about 7 months ago. But if you can get Gail Kim to run that, and Tony can actually take a step back and just let her do
really
her
help,
thing.
really kind of help develop some other good storylines for the women's division AEW. So honestly, WWE or AEW would benefit from having Gail Kim come on board. So
no, I'm with you. 100%.
I think they're definitely going to be talking to her. Because she was fired. There's no compete clause. So no. It's like there's people on both sides are probably reaching out to her already and see if she's interested.
She probably won't. She has such a bad taste in her mouth on WWE.
Yeah, that's why I think AEW is more likely. But that was the Vince era.
That was the Vince era, correct?
That was the Vince era that she was not treated well. So she might be willing to hear WWE out with Triple H in charge. But I think if Tony's willing to let her give her some,
that's the 100%
thing, though.
That's the big question.
Where Triple H would be like, give her the with the creative team, she's not going to have to worry about with the way Tony is right now, with the way he's controlling the booking. It's hard to say. So it could go either way. She could go either place, and they would both benefit. So it'll be interesting to see where she's going to end up.
But I just think that she is the best mind for women's wrestling.
She's gonna end up in either AEW, WWE. The question is which one. I think.
Yeah, but I agree with me with that she's the best mind in women's wrestling right now.
Oh, definitely.
Because look. I mean, the only thing we talked about TNA for a while was dude, look at that knockouts division. Yeah. You know why? It's because of Gail Kim. And the fact that they were
that's why I think WWE should really push for her and get her to work with the women on the main roster, because the women NXT are doing fine. It's there's a lack of storyline issue for on both Raw and SmackDown right now.
Yeah, there's
the way that the NXT women's division is being treated with storylines and stuff is night and day compared to what Raw and SmackDown is going through right now.
Yeah,
outside of some stuff, outside some of them, it's they could really so. But anyway, so. Back to NXT real quick to wrap things up. Stephanie got to look awesome. It's interesting. It's are we going to get I have a feeling they're going to have a one match where she defends both titles, like Kurt Angle did at WrestleMania 2000 when he defended both the Intercontinental and European titles against Jericho and Benoit in one match. I think they might go that route, and that's where you can have a triple threat or maybe even a fatal four, depending on who's involved. Because Jordan's definitely going to be involved. It's going to be either Jordan versus Stephanie 1-on-1, or we might get a multi-woman match with Jada Parker, maybe one other person involved. Because we got so many other people vying, and like Ava's like, I need to figure something out. I'll make an announcement. She's probably gonna be like, because like you can't have her be double champion for too long because it's like we have nights like this where it's like okay, but we'll see. It's like she's definitely gonna be holding on to the title until whenever Julia comes back. Because when Julia comes back, she's gonna get her win back and get the title back.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a big night match.
I just don't want them to put Jada Parker in the backside.
I would love to see Jada get the North American Championship. Honestly,
yeah, that's kind of where I'm
leaning to have a belt run at this point with what she's
done it. She does a good promo. She's great in the ring. Yeah. She has that charisma. She has what you would look for, and that's why I kind of brought her up 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was like, who's going to challenge Julia or Stephanie?
Mm-hmm.
In that situation, I was like, Jada. I mean, just at this point, because Roxanne's gone, Cora.
Yeah, Roxanne's pretty much out the door.
I would put Jada over Cora at this point. Just her in-ring scene.
Well, at least Cora was involved in the back there. It's like.
I know, and I'm a big Cora person, but I can't. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. I just think Jada is a little bit better than she is.
I'm glad you said that because I feel the same way. It's like, and I do like Cora a lot. I've always liked Cora, but right now Jada is ahead of her.
Yeah, she just is. I gotta call a spade. Not just because of like how they're presenting her. The reason they're presenting her that way is because she is.
It's not like that. They're not like they've tossed Cora aside. I think they're being cautious with Cora because of all the it's like.
Injury and the concussion.
They're being careful to see, like, is she really injury prone or not?
Right.
Like, can she stay healthy?
Yeah, because they were pushing for Cora to have this Jada, not Jada, but the Jada spot this week, and then she had her concussion or whatever she had. So.
She had that injury scare against Jordan. So that's where I was like, oh, that's probably not going to help matters with her right now either. It's like I get it. I mean, that's why I think Nikita Lyons is like fallen out of being like one of the big prominent talents being pushed right now because of she's torn both her ACLs.
And in her last matches not been good.
Right.
And no one cares about her. And no one cared about. You see how fastly they squipped. They scrapped the thing between her and Padrano, Katrina,
Carmen Petrovic.
Yeah, Carmen. They scrapped that real quick, and they typically like to really push that bullshit out. So,
like, she's still working house shows and stuff, but she's like really not been featured on television much lately. So.
Anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah, so I was going to just see. I think Stephanie's probably going to defend both titles in one match. It's just a matter of like how many people are going to be involved. Jordan's definitely going to be involved, probably Jada as well, because the thing between Jordan and Jada ain't over yet either. It's like so. Very interesting that Jordan decided to provide a little bit of distraction. It was very heelish. She's still a babyface. It's like I guess it just shows like she don't really like Jada Parker very much.
No, because Jada Parker's in her way.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think it's a face or a heel thing. It's just you're in my way.
Yeah, and Fraxium still being Fraxium. It's like
they're gonna lose the Hardys on TNA and whatever.
Well, they're gonna get to beat the Hardys. It's like they're gonna get that win back.
Yeah, they're gonna. I'm sorry, the Hardys beat them, so now they're gonna beat Hardys.
Yes. The question is, it's kind of like just trying to figure out who in the tag division is finally going to take the titles from them when they feel like that they're going to get called up. That's the thing.
They're going to do Hank and Tank, and it should be no quarter. But whatever. I'm not the booker.
Yeah.
Or Josh Briggs and
Imura. North Catchcore, Briggs and Imura would be I think the two best picks, at least in my view, of who should deserve a good tag title run at this point. Hanky Tank, it's like they're definitely working on trying to get the fans behind them. I think it's starting to work. It's taking a while to work. That's the thing.
You know what? Here's the thing that Faction should do. They just get all the tag team titles. Just go to SmackDown, get the tag team titles. Go to Raw, get the tag team titles. Just have all of them at this point because they're booked so strong. They were the like we talked like it was told. They were the best tag team of 2024. Might as well have them win everything.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a tag team on maybe the Street Profits can beat them, or DIY or something? Like they're at that level, but they're on NXT.
Yeah.
But like the way they've been booked and how good they are, like they're the Young Bucks 2.0 of the fact of like there's a different tag team compared to anyone I've seen in the past year and a half. It's nothing against anyone else. Like DIY, love them. Street Profits, love them. But I don't see a tag team better than Fraxium in the world.
They're just so good. It's ridiculous. It's like I'm just thinking about just like them going against like the Profits or DIY.
That's what I'm saying. Like, think about that. Like, why would you have them drop a title that they don't deserve to drop just so they can lose to the Street Profits when they're arguably better than DIY and Street Profits? I've seen the matches. The Fraxium and DIY and Street Profits. Oh my God.
Banger times.
Right.
So yeah, it's like things are moving. I think we're gonna get more like I think some matches like made official. I think next week for Stand and Deliver. It's like I made sure that WrestleMania weekend's a Friday weekend. It's also I forgot WrestleMania Night 2 was on Easter.
Yeah. 1920th, right? 1920th, right?
That's 20th, yeah. Yeah, it's also Easter. I don't know what my family's doing for Easter. It's like
we're gonna figure it out, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna figure it out.
I'll definitely be free for night one because I'll be. I made sure to take a 4-day weekend, so it's like I have through Monday off for Mania weekend. So, looking forward to stuff. So, but yeah, I'm looking. It's like I'm very interested to see where things are going to get more. I want to see some clarity about some of the Stand and Deliver matches because like that show is going to be a great way to kick off WrestleMania weekend.
Yep. Well, anything else, Justin?
No, I think covers it. It's NXT Women's Division is carrying NXT right now. There's no question. It's like it's the reason to watch.
But we've got the right guys to. I mean, the Dark State's weird. I'm still not buying into it. But we got Ricky. That was the big thing. Is like we got Ricky. We got a different trick.
It's still cooking, even though like Julia and Roxanne are not around right now.
No. But we got Jordan Grace. So
yeah, we got Jordan. We got Stephanie. Got plenty of people. So it's going to be in good hands until whenever Julia gets back, and and hopefully the Prodigy will return from exile soon. Where it's like, please, Triple H, HBK, come on, man.
Just and they know what they have too.
They do. They
wouldn't be booking her.
I don't think this is like they're not going to do anything. I think they're holding off until something's going to happen. Like something's going to get executed, and that's good. Oh, okay, here we go.
Well, Justin, other things that everyone else can tune in for us. We always
after the Rumble and the Elimination Chamber. I mean, it's clear that how high they are on Roxanne. So it's like, yeah. It's just a matter of what are you going to do with her for Mania?
If you drop Roxanne, then this show will cease to exist. I'm just saying right now. It'll carry on, but it'll be.
We're doing this show. Don't do that.
But I will.
Don't say that.
I'm just saying, because just don't fuck up the golden goose that you have. She's just so she's damn it. Nope, never mind. We'll just do a tribute show if she gets cut. Anyway, but Justin, always a pleasure.
Yep.
Talking wrestling with you.
Yep. On Friday, it's a little unusual, but we'll be back at our normal night and time next week on Thursday.
Yep. I was here. That's why you see the Packer stuff behind me. I'm not a Packer fan. That's just my family. But Justin is a Buffalo fan. He signed his boy Josh Allen forever.
Mm-hmm.
So they got stuff going on there. Yeah. And
they
but other things,
contracts so they'll be able to spend more money.
Yep.
That's a good thing.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of times you see the quarterbacks, at least the big quarterbacks, they'll sign a big contract, but they're willing to negotiate so they can win a Super Bowl. Yep. The one thing that Buffalo needs, because no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. And that being said, other things that we have going on this channel, you have we have Rev Sports Wrap It Up that we do every Wednesday. We got bracket bitches going on right now because the tournament is going on as far as the men's and women's basketball tournaments. We got that going on. We have those shows going on there. And then you'll probably have some live streams with me and Justin. Looking forward to WrestleMania. So just stay tuned for that. And then we have the Rev Book Club that we do the first Friday of every month. So next, the first Friday in April, we'll be doing Dungeon Crawler Carl. We'll be doing that, going over that one. So all that stuff, like below, all that stuff. And just anything else?
No, I think that covers it. Lots of cool stuff going on, and look forward to seeing what we have to talk about. Definitely going to have a lot to talk about on for tonight's SmackDown.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is WrestleMania season. We are in the thick of it. We're in like the thick of it. We're right there. So stay tuned to see us talk crap about.
We also got Dynasty before Mania too. We got Dynasty next weekend. So it's like so we got two big pay-per-views. Well, 3 if you count Stand and Deliver coming up. So it's like.
So wrestling never stops. This is why we love it. That's why we've been doing it for so long, is because wrestling doesn't stop.
Thursday after Mania that's going to be a long show because we got to talk about Stand and Deliver both nights of Mania. It's like we're going to have a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about. But on behalf of myself and Justin, we will see you all next time.